you very much, Srividya. It was absolutely terrific listening to uh, Srimati Aparna, our Secretary of Pharmaceuticals, for her extraordinary insight and detailed coverage of the regulation and policy sector, and linking that so well to R&D. I really, cannot add anything more, and I should not be reiterating what she says. Let me try and cover some points which are complementary, even though that's difficult. Now, over the last few decades, the Indian pharma industry has evolved to become a major facet of our healthcare ecosystem. It's moved from being a importer to a manufacturer and now into a developer of pharma in multiple ways. And it has done this against extraordinary global odds. The global odds can be seen just by looking at the extent of R&D investment each of the big pharma companies make. And each of them, the big ones make more investment than the entire US National Science Foundation. So it is against these odds that innovation has taken place. Now, on the back of these strong capabilities, our need now is to grab other kinds of opportunities and move forward. Now, the here the context, what we need to do is something very important. How is it that our industry can be competitive as well as serve the country and the world in a situation where there are big challenges in terms of the other providers all over the world? The answer to that comes in significant part uh, through the change ecosystem where life sciences has evolved in two different ways. In one way, we have learned and developed new technologies which can allow the manufacturing of different kinds of drugs, both biotech as well as chemistry interfaces. And these have come across because of our advances in computing power. So designer drugs of various kinds can rapidly be, laid out and tested and thrown away if they don't work. So the progress of drug discovery has moved on very rapidly. And the other is that the understanding and use of biotech has increased uh, exponentially. And there too, the interface between biology and computer aided design of drugs and molecules have taken place, have moved ahead very rapidly. In both these, that is both chemistry and biology, and also the interface with IT, India has done really well in developing huge capacity. So India has the ability now to move into new kinds of drug development, both in biologics, biosimilars, new kinds of therapies using biological molecules, and new kinds of chemistry relatively rapidly. So that is one aspect. The other aspect which has changed and which is a rather big challenge has two parts. One part is that our understanding of human biology through profiling of people, their genetic susceptibility, their environmental interactions, and the way their bodies react to different drugs means that we can now have the opportunity of delivering personalized medicine to people. The problem always has been you can do that, but it's very expensive and the delivery systems are difficult. Here too, India's digital capability through the National Digital Health Mission in being able to have people identified and the digital records available after full protection allows us to look at drugs and their effects on individual, feedback that information, and come back to use drugs which are most effective. This is going to be a game changer. And so far, Indian drugs and pharmaceuticals have looked at a niche Indian market and global markets substantially because of generics or low value products of various kinds. This will now allow them to move into high value products which can be delivered logistically to the right people very speedily. Now, for this kind of development to grow in India, we need an expansion of the fundamental research ecosystem and link that to industry and startups. there are two important components which policy now has addressed and will open up the doors. One is academia industry collaboration of various kinds, and also facilitating our scientists, our researchers, and institutions to start companies and become entrepreneurs themselves. These two aspects are going to be very important game changers as we go ahead. Ms. Aparna has also mentioned about the regulatory changes on the anvil. Those will also smoothen regulatory processes without compromising quality. All too often, over the last few decades, regulatory hoops have been developed not so much to improve regulation alone, that has been there, of course, in many instances, but also the wrong assumption that more regulation somehow improves the quality of regulation. Now, the pandemic has allowed a re examination of that, and we need to go to a situation where highest quality regulation, safety, privacy, rigor in science are combined with speed, and that is eminently feasible. Now, the synergy between industry and academia is an area which the COVID-19 pandemic has enhanced and shown really well in India, and we're going to see more of that happening. We've seen that in developing test kits and vaccines and PPE and so on. It's now time to embed this interaction on a scale so that new developments and research can go at a high level. This addresses the other point which I made, that when there are big investors in R&D, the risk in investing by Indian industry needs to invest more, but that risk has to be mitigated, and that risk can be mitigated by academia industry partnership. So I would like to end by saying that India is playing at scale in the innovation space, and this will not only help the country, but will create a source of sustainable revenues, bringing new solutions to unmet healthcare needs. India in this would lead not only in the creation of new high-skilled jobs, but also reducing disease burden here and all over the world, such as the development of drugs for both India-specific concerns, such as tuberculosis and leprosy, which do not get global attention, and also for lifestyle diseases such as cancer, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. Affordable innovation is the way forward, and India has a unique opportunity to deliver to global markets by building excellence across the innovation chain from discovery to development. So we are kept from our goals not by obstacles, but by a clear path to a lesser goal. And therefore, we must use this quote, which is from the Gita, to actually ensure that the lesser goal has been achieved by us now. It's now time to reach for greater goals. Thank you very much.